Hi all, and welcome to my channel, Fred Makes Things, and our monthly quilt update video for you. We are talking June 2025, and I'm updating you on 3 projects. So timestamps are on the screen for you in the description box and as chapters in the video. But to break it down, we're going to be talking temperature quilt first. Then we're going to be talking murder mystery quilt second, and then third we're going to give an update on our Kittens in Cups progress. In this we will also be talking about the new sewing machine presser feet that I bought and what's going on with those. So yeah, before we get into it, shockingly, here's Junior. He was passed out, upside down, on the couch, snuggling with his cat brothers, and he heard me talking to myself alone in the office, and he was like, "It's filming time! Time for my cameo!" But anyway, so before we get started, I do want to say hello. Hello to the new subscribers, the OGs, anyone in between. Hello to the influx of people I've had from my recent crochet videos. I do sewing as well as crochet, so that is what we're talking about today. I do more sewing than crochet, really. Hello to you. Hello to the people who have just clicked on this video, curious about what's going on. And to anyone who's been watching my videos for a while and are not yet subscribed, you're all so very much appreciated, and your comments and thoughts and suggestions are always so welcome. I love seeing them down in the comment section. Do I have any other updates for you? We're still waiting on Sewers Club. No idea where that is, but that's okay. We'll be giving the backstory of what happened with Sewers Club in my box whenever we get our Sewers Club package. And I think that's all I wanted to say. So let's get into part 1, talking temperature quilt, which means it's time for Junior to get down. We're gonna put your guesses, I guess, in the comments, or keep in mind your guesses in the comments to see how many times Mr. Junior will interrupt the video today. But I'll be right back after I take him off. So, part 1 and our temperature quilt. We'll move the other 2 off to the side for now. But part 1, temperature quilt. I am caught up until a couple of days ago, really. So here is this month's progress. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't count. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We are caught up to the 12th. Today is the 18th. I am 6 days behind. So really today I'm going to end up having to catch up on it. I don't think I'll have enough time to add it into the video today or not, but just know I am 6 days behind, which is a little more than I usually like to be, but I have not been sewing in the last few days, so that makes sense as to why. And I usually let like 4 days pile up before I usually get to sewing. But as you can see, we have our hottest color arrive. So this purpley tone here is our above 30-degree weather. I think it's 31 to 35, and then we've got 26 to 30, and then we've got 21 to 25. The yellow is 16 to 20. The green is 11 to 15. think we've got some dark green in here, 11 to 15. So that's 6 to 10. So we haven't gone below 6 degrees in the month of June so far, but we have started to get above 30 degrees. I talk in Celsius because I am a Canadian, and even though I've been living in the United States now for what feels like forever, really just what, almost 6 years, but my brain refuses to learn Fahrenheit. So the temperature conversions are on the screen for you, but just know we're starting to get hot, and it sounds like this week we're getting really hot, or next week we're getting really hot, so it's going to be interesting to see how those colors come together. But yeah, quite the color medley in our, now that we're getting into the warmer months, and still a lot of green. In my unboxing video, oh wait, I haven't talked about that yet. I pre-filmed an unboxing video, and in that I said that I'm running low on colors, and I was going to put in this video here what color I'm the lowest on, or that you would already have seen, something like that. I don't remember, and I forgot to check, so I will check upstairs which color I'm officially the lowest on, and I'll flash that up for you. But it's either this light green, it's not this light green, I don't think. It's either this like darker green or this like turquoisey, tealy kind of blue color. So yeah, anyway, that's this month. This is up until the end of May completed. So here we are at the end of the month here. May was cooler. Like May was really cool. Like this orange is only getting as high as 26 degrees, or as high as 25 degrees. All right, but like a lot of like 10 to 15 or 15 to 20, right? 20 to 26, but like the colors really are starting to look really, really cool together. Like I really, really like how the colors are playing out together. But it got, like, we had a really big cool like snap. Like if this is the start of our month here, this is above 20 or 26 degrees and above, and I think this is the last color for that. Yeah, it's the last color for that all the way to the end of May. So here's a picture of it laying out on my kitchen floor for you to see all of the colors and how they all play together, how the triangles are forming, how everything's kind of meshing and melding and just generally laying out together. I know at the beginning of the year I gave people the choice of which block they wanted me to do, and the resounding opinion was to go with the more complicated block. But as I progress through this quilt, it is getting more and more cool and apparent that I made the right choice in making a subtler block. If you heard that little squeaking meow, Susie has come to join me, and now she's gone. So yeah, that's this for you, and this month's little strip of color. All right, now let's talk this month's murder mystery quilt, Murder in Machu Picchu. I didn't do an update on this last month because we get new clues on the second Wednesday of the month, and I filmed this quilt update video last month a bit earlier than that. So we have quite the stack of things to talk about with Murder in Machu Picchu. So a little bit of backstory. Facebook told me about a murder mystery quilt, right? You know how you get like targeted ads and stuff like that. And my targeted ad was about this really cool murder mystery in Machu Picchu kind of year-long quilt project. They do one every single year. It's a themed mystery quilt where they send you out a block every month to make, or a couple of blocks every month to make, or what have you. And then you make those blocks for that month. Along with the blocks, you also get a lovely story going along with the murder mystery, right, aspect to the quilt. And as you work on the blocks help give you clues to the story. If you get your blocks done before the newest block is released, which is, like I said, the second Wednesday of the month, you get an extra bonus clue that should help you figure out what is going on in the story and who the killer is. I have not read any of the story. We're 6 months in. I've been saving them to read on the plane when I fly back home to Canada for a vacation. And so I have no idea what is going on in the story. And I'm only been making the blocks. We're talking 2 sets of blocks this month as well, because last Wednesday was the second Wednesday, so I had a week to work on these, and they came together fairly quickly this month. I can say I would not have had enough time last month to get them made and talk to you about before my deadline anyway. Like, these blocks for last month took me almost the entirety of the month to work on, in between other projects, but a lot of my time was focused on these blocks. So first we're going to talk about the blocks from from last month, and then we're going to talk about the blocks from this month. So you might ask, why did it take you so long? Well, A, they wanted you to do 3 blocks instead of 1, which was new. And B, you could not get away from foundation paper piecing, which I am very, very new at. I did a llama a couple of months ago. Here's a photo of that, because I didn't bring the llama downstairs with me, but that was my first real foundation paper pieced project. Sewers Club did one a few years ago, like a minor one, like an introduction to foundation paper piecing, but this llama kind of threw you into the deep end. You didn't have to do the llama. You could have done like something with like squares or something instead, or triangles instead. It was like a half square triangle project instead, or HST. But I decided I wanted to tackle the foundation paper piecing, so I did that llama. Then in the intermediate month was like something quite a bit easier. Here's a block for that, because why not? And now this month, or last month I should say, the May blocks, you were given the option to do foundation paper pieced animals, or you could do some crosses, some squares, something like that. Here's a photo that I clipped from the instructions that you're given for the murder mystery quilt, for you to like choose between. So you could have done that block, or you could have done the animal blocks, and I chose the animal blocks. You could have done a mix too, but the only rule was that you needed to get 3. I'm talking too fast. The only rule that you needed to do was to get 3 blocks done by the second Wednesday in June. I thought about doing the squares, but I really wanted to like push myself. I'd done the llama and I wanted to do the other ones. So I did practice blocks first, because I was not sure about my abilities. So this one here was my very first practice block. I pulled colors similar to what they wanted you to use. I wanted to see what a golden eye instead of a black eye would look like on this snake, and this is how it turned out. I used the same dark blue as the llama fabric. I used the same color as the llama fabric for the teeth. The red was scrappy, this brown was scrappy, and as you can see, I kind of lost fabric chicken and had to substitute one lighter brown piece to finish my first practice block. But I thought it turned out really cool. The sections weren't too tough to put together. I don't know if anyone is familiar with foundation paper piecing, but this was the guide that you were given, right, to assemble. And then I didn't bring down the finished guide, but this was kind of the guide that you could follow to assemble it all. But it wasn't too difficult. There were some small fiddly bits, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Like if you look at F, like you could see how small those pieces are. This is to scale. I think it's to scale. No, it's a little smaller. But you can see kind of how those pieces are, right? There's some up in the head area that you had to work with. Junior is jealous that I used that I'm talking about other animals and not him. See, the problem is when he comes up here, he gets love. And so now he's just learned, because he's neglected the rest of the time. This is the only time he gets pets or any sort of attention. Not that he sleeps on my feet every night or lays in my lap as we're crocheting at night. He gets played with all the time and snuggled with all of the time. This is his only chance for real affection throughout the day. So anyways, this is where we started. Then I made the condor, and this guy was hard. Like you could see how fiddly the wings are. Like look at how small some of those pieces are and how fiddly it all is. This side is even worse. Like look at how tight, like how small some of those sections were. On the back you can kind of see just like how crazy this condor was to assemble. These first blocks took me hours. This condor here took me probably like 10 hours to put together, with messing up and fixing it and coming back and fixing it, and it was just a mess. I used this light blue fabric here that came in the same fat quarter bundle as this blue fabric, right? It was a Joann's purchase. I needed to buy this light blue fabric to finish last year's temperature quilt. But yeah, you can see there's some issues, but my seams lined up fairly well, right? And it came out nice. It came out even on all sides for the most part, which is really cool. This one did too, and I'm going to talk about how I did that in a second. Actually, would people watching, would you like a separate video talking about tricks, tips, things that I have learned and figured out for foundation paper piecing? I am very, very new to it, but as I was working through these, I was starting to notice that there's some things that I was doing that I was kind of like fiddling with to make it all make sense. And it would be like things that don't require a whole bunch of other things to work with, if that makes sense. Because like, I saw Fat Quarter Shop talk, because they do a lot of foundation paper piecing and stuff on their YouTube channel or on their Instagram. And she's like, one of the best tools you could have is a light box, but I have like a light box pad thing that's broken, so I have to like use my window and hold things up to the light. But anyway, if that's something you're interested in, let me know, and maybe that will be a July video for while I'm gone. Thirdly was the Puma, and I used scrap from our symphony quilt from last year, that same tan fabric that I used on my practice llama, right? It's in the condor as well. Same blue, so I have two light blue fabric, or two light blue animals, and I have two darker blue animals, so in the future something will be made out of those. And when this Puma was done, I was like, I think I've got this. I took 5 days, 6 days from when this was finished to work on, I think, last month's Sewers Club project, catch up on my quilts, things like that. And then I decided I was going to come back to it. So then I made these guys. I started with the condor because he was the most difficult. Sorry about all the cat hair. This light blue fabric holds cat hair like crazy. And I had these sitting on my dining room table to take pictures of, and when I turned around, Susie was sitting on them, and then when I turned around again, Junior was sitting on them, and so on and so forth. So this is my finished condor, and this is my practice condor. I can't get them both on. And I actually think I like my practice condor better. I accidentally clipped all of my finished condors wingtips for some reason. Every single one of them got cut off by the second point, and I'm not sure how that happened. Whereas these ones here, they're all nice and clean. So it still looks really cool. You can't tell if you don't point it out, but here's finished to practice. This took me half the time. This took me about 5 hours to do, which was still a long time, but a lot less. Then I made the snake. So here's the snake. Again, ignore, I don't know, just how kind of messy it is. But here's the finished snake. Some of my points don't line up as nicely. I might go back in and kind of, I wonder if that one's upside down actually. But yeah, this is also scrap, but quite a bit of scrap from our Symphony Block of the Month project. This red is also scrap. Instead of cutting red from my designated cut fabric for the murder mystery quilt. And I did not like the red tip on the snake, so I did a gold tip on the back. But yeah, a lot of my points don't quite match up. I wonder if this whole thing is upside down. Anyway, I'll take a look at it and see where I went wrong. Probably try to fix it a little bit, but I was on a deadline to get these done. I got these done like the day before the video, or the deadline was to get your bonus clue. So finished number snake. This one only took me like 3 hours to do, or 4 hours to do, but there was some drama I was dealing with while working on this, which I will talk about in another video, but good Lord, that took forever. And then for my last one, I could not resist using some gold fabric that I have, because like, how cool is that? He's a puma, but I think he might look more like a leopard or a jaguar or something because of his fur. But he's my favorite. Again, this point didn't line up as nicely for some unknown reason. I even pulled it out and redid it, and that's just how it ended up. But I think when the quilt is completely finished, you won't be able to tell. Because of just how much bulk is in this ear, right? This always points down. I'm going to trim some of that away. But that's him. And then this is his practice one. God, I love that gold. Like, I just think it makes him look so, so cool. And even as it fades, I think the color will be so, so cool. He should have been this color here, but I really wanted him to really stand out. Oh no, that's right here. I didn't even cut it into the color he's supposed to be for this project at all. I don't have it in any of the pieces. That's interesting. But anyway, so yeah, that's how they turned out for last month. They took me the entirety of the month. It was crazy how long it took. Now for this month, they gave you the option, you had to make 2. And they gave you the option of a pieced, like a blocked, or a pieced block, or again, foundation paper pieces. I did all three. So there was a corn husk that looked kind of interesting. There was a cocoa leaf that looked kind of interesting. And then there was this pieced block here. So these were a lot easier to make than last month's pieces. Like there were not a whole lot of like little tiny fiddly bits. There's a couple, right? But not nearly as many as on like the Condor or whatever. So I didn't even do practice ones for these. I just went straight into the project. Here's my corn. It's not perfect, right? This part sits a little bit funny, but here's the corn. And I haven't pulled the paper off of these yet. So you can kind of see, like, it's much simpler. But, yeah. Here's the corn. Here's the cocoa leaf. You can tell that the cats haven't been at these just yet. Again, the paper is still attached on the back. I really like how these came together. I've been really uncertain about this green. I think this is the first time that I've used it in a project. Second time maybe. It feels a little bit too much like camouflage to me. But it works really, really well in this. This was from Joann Fabrics. This is Joann Fabrics. This is Kona Cotton from Joann, but it's Kona. And then this here is Kona Cotton from, or Colorworks. I think it's Colorworks from Source Club. But I really like how all three of these greens work together. I think they work quite nicely. And then if you didn't want to do foundation paper piecing, you could have done a block. And I did the block wrong. I got too confident and it's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And I did it wrong. And they actually said in the instructions when you're making it to sew these two green pieces, like you had like a larger piece, right, that you sewed together. And then you cut it in half and trimmed it down to size. And this was the same, that it was one larger piece cut in half and then trimmed down when it was finished. The yellow and this, like, they call it ochre, or I think they call this one ochre. You had to do separately, but I was like, yeah, I know what's going on. But really what it was supposed to look like, and what I might have, like, I have enough fabric, I can go back and redo it. But this yellow and this yellow were supposed to be on one side. So like this was supposed to sit here and vice versa. All right, so you're gonna have yellow on top, green on bottom, or right, you can flip it over, green on top, yellow on bottom. So I put it together wrong, but I can go back and fix it if I want to. I might see what the quilt looks like in the end and then decide, because I do have like all three projects that I could choose from, or all three blocks I could choose from for the one square. So I'm not sure, but this month, these took me, I don't know, 2 days to do. Whereas the blocks from last month took me almost the entirety of the month. That was a lot of talking about this. But it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. Let's get into part 3, kittens in cups. So I introduced kittens in cups last month and I showed you one block. I am not rushing through these blocks because they could take a very long time to put together. I will say that the blocks are not perfect, but they could definitely, they're definitely getting better. So last week, I don't know what days there are. Last week I said that I'd been waiting for a 1/4 inch zipper presser foot sewing machine. Jeez. Okay. I said in last week's Sewing Parts Online video, unboxing haul, or not unboxing, but haul video, that I ordered a couple of presser feet for my sewing machine that they said will fit my sewing machine. But my sewing machine foot, after thinking about it, or like the shank and where you attach it, is all pretty standard, right? You've got low shank, high shank, and I think I have a low shank machine. But anyway, the bar that you attach your presser feet to, or your, like the little bar that your presser foot attaches with, are all fairly standard. But the one that I ordered from Sewing Parts Online is a little too narrow for my machine, so I couldn't use it. I waited nearly a month for these. I have to return them. They didn't fit, and I was quite annoyed with that. So I said, you know, I've had good luck ordering just random bits from Amazon. So I went on Amazon and I found a slew of new presser feet. So now I'm kind of like experimenting with different styles of 1/4 inch presser feet, like clear, not clear, with guide, stitch in the ditch feet, all that kind of stuff. And I used the clear foot with guide on these ones that I got from Amazon. So I made this kitten first. I grabbed the wrong fabric for down here, so my base of my cup is a little too big, but I thought he turned out really cute. So this is kitten 2. Here's a picture of kitten 1. There's 2 different kittens that you can use. So here's a picture of kitten 1, and here's kitten 2, and this is how he came out. I'm really happy with him. They're not perfect, but they don't have to be. And then I decided to do 2 of them at the same time because I had the orange fabric, and I made this kitten and I made this kitten in tandem, and I timed myself, and they take about, these 2 together took me about 3.5 hours to do. I haven't trimmed them up or cleaned them up or anything. And this is how the first one turned. Well, they were in tandem, right? You could see like this isn't lined up, this isn't lined up. You're using really finicky little pieces cut on or sewn on an angle. So like these little dotted pieces here that you see, they're all just 3/4 of an inch big, and sometimes they work out nicely and sometimes they don't. And so it's kind of on me to make these little bits work better. But I knew that going in that I was going to be having issues with some of these. Like this one got completely cut off, but if you look on the back, you will see that it's there. Which one is it? You will see it's there, right? It just got caught up in the seam allowance. Right, so it's there, it's just caught in the seam allowance. These I have to be more careful cutting or sewing down as well, but for the most part it worked. Also, by not paying attention and stuff to pieces I was grabbing, this didn't come out quite well, so I had to add like a little piece of purple along the top, and then when I trim it all out, right, it should come out to be the right size. But there was just finicky bits, and there are finicky bits in both. Here's the second one. Again, it came out a little bit better than that first one, but you can see I almost completely cut off the little curve on these feet. So it's like you go through all this effort to put them in, right, they're in there, and then they get cut off because I'm not being as precise as I need to be. The handle on this one doesn't quite sit right either. I might take it out and or undo it and shift it so that it all fits down into the bottom better. But yeah, the 1/4 inch seam allowance though is really coming together nicely. It's really like you can see how clean and like neat all of my seams are, because that foot is really helping me keep it all together. So I got 3 more kittens in cups finished one I'm really happy with. Two I'm gonna maybe have to fuss around a little bit with. But this is definitely a learning thing for me. I wasn't going for perfection. I was aiming with these kittens to be more consistent. I'm making 22 blocks, 24 blocks to narrow down to 20 blocks to make an oversized, larger than a lap quilt, not as big as a twin quilt, kind of in between kind of quilt. Just with repeating the same block over and over again to see how more consistent and clean and everything like that I can get these. But there is no time limit on these. It's kind of like I work at the pace that I work at and I go from there. I have learned though that I thought that I had these background pieces labeled good enough that I was able to pull what I needed when, but I couldn't. I kept messing up on the sizes I was pulling because some of them are like 1.5 by 2 and the other one is like 1 by 2, or one is like 3.5 by 4 and the other one's 3.5 by 4.5, or 1 by 4 and one's 1.5 by 4.5, and they're too similar and I had them stacked too close together and I was pulling from the wrong sections. That's how this happened, right? I pulled one that was 1/2 inch shorter than it should have been, and if I had pulled the right one, this cup would have, this base would have fit better. But on the plus side, I have extra of almost everything available that if I mess up on anything, I can like recut pieces. The only thing that's a little dicey is the soft polka dotted white, but I have a different white that I can pull from for that too, so that it all comes together looking pretty cool. They don't look terrible when they're next to each other though. Like they definitely all kind of match each other. Great. And having a little inconsistency in the kittens, I think, you know, adds character. So this is a much longer video than I expected it to be. I'm sorry about that. And I'm sorry to me to have to edit this, but let's wrap it up. So that is what I'm working on. That is what you are seeing. My goal with these is to continue plugging away at my temperature quilt. That will be put on pause for 3-ish weeks while I'm in Canada, and then I'll have to come back and catch up on it. But temperature quilt is going along. I have 4 out of, we'll say, 22 blocks done on the kittens and cups, which will also have everything will be paused while I'm gone. What's actually kind of nice about the murder mystery quilt is because I'm done this project as early as I have been, and my next block isn't released until, like I said, the second Wednesday in July. I'm just looking at when the second Wednesday is. The second Wednesday's the 9th, and I'm home on the 20th. I'm home on the 22nd, I should say. So I'll still have like 2 weeks or so to get that up. So if I'm home on the 22nd, nearly 3 weeks, because I have the 30th, the 6th, and then I just closed that. The 30th, the 6th, the 13th. I'll have until August 13th to get it finished. So I'll have nearly 3 weeks from when I get back to when it is due, which is pretty awesome for me. So speaking of quilt update, so in July, we're not going to have a quilt update video. I'm not going to have the time to get it done in July with the amount of unboxings and everything that I have when I get home too. I'm just not going to have the time to work on a quilt update video for July. So we'll have a bigger quilt update video, although this one's too big. We'll have a bigger quilt update video in August when I pick up where I left off with all of these projects. So look for that in August. It's usually somewhere in the middle of August between a Sewers Club unboxing video and a Sewers Club project review video. What do we have coming up this week? Friday is more than likely going to be my Meowbox 6-month review video. I'm having a hard time kind of putting into thoughts how I want to talk about it and what I want to have on the screen for you when I'm talking about it. I'm not going to pile up each and every toy or anything like that while we do it, so I'm not sure how I'm putting that video together. Monday, I have no idea what Monday's video is going to be. Wednesday, it's going to be, I think, a table runner project that I'm getting started on today, hopefully, and then after that, I'm not sure. Life is getting complicated with getting ready to go for 3 weeks. So, if any of that interests you, do think about subscribing. Let me know how you think I'm progressing with all of these. Do let me know if you want to see a beginner's thoughts on how to do foundation paper piecing, and anything else that you'd like to know or have questions about or anything. Let me know all of that down in the comment section. Like the video if you've reached the end. And yeah, I think with all of that being said, I am going to go because now I have to edit a too long video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye.